Carter Lions was going to be able to make some money there on the left side, and unfortunately we're going back 5 yards. Quite candidly, those mental mistakes, and of course we don't know precisely which person jumped because they don't announce that here in high school football. But those are the kinds of mental mistakes that are going to shoot you in the foot and take you out of second and short or second and medium to second and long.
So we've got Hansen lined up far to the left. Down to the right is Olin. Here comes Hansen across the way. And handoff straight ahead and down across the 25-yard line for the Wildcats. I believe that's Lions once again. Indeed it is. About a 6-yard pickup there for the senior. One of many that was honored here before the game tonight on senior night in Wildcat country. Twice they honored the players, the dance team members, cheerleaders.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, Mike, that's an excellent point, and I'm really glad to see the high school and the program honor the folks like the dance team and the cheerleaders who bring so much to this high school atmosphere. It's great to have them honored as well.
Keep an eye on Max Meekin here. They kind of liked this formation last week against Farmington. Sorensen's going to keep. Yep, he'll tuck it under that left arm, cuts forward, and he's going to be close to a first down. Looks like he's going to be just shy, judging by the official on the far side. Jared Henderson among those in there for Prior Lake.
Well, I'm not sure what the offensive line and the outside receivers put in their Wheaties this morning when they were up tailgating this morning to make sure they were up and ready for this game. But whatever it is, I hope they keep eating it, because right now they had a nice job of sealing everybody in. And Sorensen really just kind of could stroll. I mean, I'm exaggerating by a bit. He could stroll out there and pick his spot and find a hole to cut up inside. Excellent job staying on their blocks that time.
Boy, it's fourth, and I would say maybe 2 feet for the Wildcats. Fumbled the snap, and that's been Egan's downfall right there. Opportunity. Prior Lake's going to take over on their own 21-yard line.
Well, that's really unfortunate, Mike. It's something that, again, we had a 5-yard penalty when we didn't need it, and fourth and 2 feet, looked like they were going to maybe try to turn around and hand it off to Lyons or maybe Gibson or Meekin, somebody in the backfield. But nonetheless, I mean, we've got to get the center quarterback exchange down. Otherwise, we struggle to run offensive plays.
9 plays, 63 yards on that drive for the Eagan Wildcats. But they're going to get nothing out of it, as Prior Lake's going to start at their own 21-yard line here, 7:15 to go. Opening quarter here on ETV, and as always, a special shout-out to those of you watching us tonight on the World Wide Web. O'Connor, the quarterback for Prior Lake, he'll fire it out far side. And looks like a minimal pickup on that side, I should say, for Prior Lake. On the receiving end, number 13 for the Prior Lake Lakers is Spencer Marlier. We will hear that name a lot tonight. He's one of their top receivers. And I'll tell you, look at a guy like Colin O'Connor, who's their quarterback. A week ago, in that Burnsville win, 22 of 32 for 242 with 2 touchdowns and an interception. 3 guys left for Prior Lake. O'Connor, they're going to go straight ahead with the big back, and he'll get out across. Nice surge. Going to be about a 4-yard pickup that time.
Well, one of the things that Prior Lake can do is they can spread you out and then run, and that's precisely what they did that time, Mike. They spread 3 receivers to the left. They give an inside handoff coming over the right side, and then they just read the blocks and they follow it up ahead. Questions: can Eagan get off the field here on a 3rd down?
3rd and 2 for Prior Lake. 4 receivers set for the Lakers. Connor's got 1 man in the backfield with him. And O'Connor's going to throw far side. Ball screen. That's going to be 1st down for Prior Lake. And on the reception out there again, number 13, who got that pass to start this drive, that is Spencer Marlier.
A nice play there by Marlier, catching that ball, making sure he had it, and then instantly turning up the field. He threw that ball was completed. It looked like it was completed a little bit behind the line of scrimmage even, or maybe very close to the line of scrimmage, and he was still able to slice and dice his way up for a 1st down.
So fresh set of downs here for Prior Lake. First time they've had the ball this evening. Scoreless here early going in Wildcat country. O'Connor, there's a little swing pass. He's got his man coming out of the backfield. He'll get out across the 40, 45, 50, up near the 50-yard line. Number 6, that's Shaver, Spencer Shaver, who goes both ways for these Prior Lake Lakers. He had a big stop on that opening drive, and he picks up a nice gain there of about, looks like 18 yards they're going to call on that one.
Okay, the Eagan defensive line's got a understand what they're looking at here. If you see two of your teammates ahead of you already closer to the quarterback than you are, turn around and look for that screen. That's exactly what happened there. They baited in Eagan through the screen pass, and we lost containment on the outside.
From midfield, Prior Lake. Connor looks at the sideline, gets his signal. 3 to the right, 1 to the left. Connor, he'll throw it here on first down. Comes near side, and that's going to be a nice 7-yard pickup for the Lakers. Out to number 5 this time for Prior Lake, and that would be Carson Matilla. 6-yard pickup there for the Lakers.
So far, the Eagan defensive line and the front seven have not put any pressure on O'Connor. If you're going to let him stand back there and throw the ball all day, it's going to be a long day for Eagan. They've got to get pressure.
4 for 4 for 31 thus far for O'Connor. Hand it off this time. Big tackle there by the Eagan Wildcats. I believe and they're going to call a face mask on Downs, I believe.
It wasn't a face mask, Mike. I'm trying to figure out what we're.
Oh, okay. It's holding on Prior Lake. Okay, I thought they called the face mask there.
Oh, goodness.
That would have been a huge break for Prior Lake. Instead, they're going to go back 10 yards from the spot of the foul.
Penalty flag.
Because that flag was thrown right in where the tackle was made. Tell you, a nice job, though, by Nick Downs to bring down the ball carrier.
No, it was an excellent tackle. I get a little worried when I see, Eagan defenders tackling high. I mean, that's the quintessential way to lose an arm tackle and lose a battle is to tackle high. But that time he did an excellent job of grabbing, getting cloth, as well as getting a piece of the shoulder pad, not a horse collar, and making sure he brought the runner to the ground.
That's going to make it second and about 16 for Prior Lake. Need to get to the Wildcat 40 for the first down. You would assume O'Connor goes air here. He will. Far side, got his man right across the middle. Can Prior Lake go the distance on this one? Down to the goal line and touchdown Prior Lake by number 13. That's his third catch. Marlier, 61 yards.
An excellent play by Marlier coming across the middle. What happened that time is that the two inside receivers, it looked like he was the outside receiver. The two inside receivers ran out routes. He sliced to the middle after about 10 yards down the field and sliced to the middle. O'Connor put it right on his numbers in stride. And at that point, the Eagan defensive backs really just didn't have a whole lot to do. They were going to be lucky to catch up with him that time.
So number 7 for Prior Lake, looking to make it 7-0. Kick is on its way, and it looks good. And Parker Ellis actually missed the kick, so it's 6-0 Prior Lake. From our angle here on midfield, it looked good, but bottom line is it's 6 for the Lakers, nothing for the Wildcats with 4:38 to go here in quarter number 1. And boy, if you're Eagan, what a change of events there. Driving down, you get down just almost into the red zone. Fumbled the snap on 4th down, and then just like that, 79 yards for Prior Lake and 7 plays. Check that, 6 plays. And you're down 6-0 to the number 9 team in the state.
Yeah, well, welcome to high school football, right? I mean, you've got a bunch of 15 to 18-year-old young men out there who, if consistency sometimes can be a bit of a challenge, right? In terms of being consistent and being able to execute on things that, these guys have been trained all week, Mike. They've been practicing all week. Coach Hanson's had them out there working all week, practicing, getting ready. And sometimes when you're out under the lights in the pressure situations, once in a while, you mentally either lose focus or you make a mistake. And unfortunately, that's what we did there. Now, I have to think that the Eagan coaching staff are going to make sure that they fix their scheme a little bit on that with the 3 wide receiver side, because Marley was not wide open, but he was pretty wide open.
That was a pretty easy pitch and catch out for Eagan O'Connor.
It was.
By the way, Eagan has now been outscored 54-7 in the opening quarter through 5.5 games here with 4:38 to go in quarter number 1 here of game 6. McGinley and Hanson back deep. This time it'll be McGinley, and it goes off his hands. He picks it up with a 1, and he did step into the end zone, and probably a good break there for the Wildcats.
An excellent break there for the Wildcats, being able to start at their own 20-yard line.
We mentioned that discrepancy coming into tonight in the first 2 quarters. Eagan has been outscored 122-14.
That's not a good trend. It's not a good trend, and one of the challenges I think that it creates is that you've got, it creates a situation, Mike, where you really struggle in that second half to be relevant. You struggle in that second half to be on. when you're down so much at halftime.
Prior Lake has now outscored their opponents 39-11 in the opening 12 minutes, by the way. Here come the Cats, and they might get one out of that before there's a big gang tackle. Ball is loose, and, the officials are going to call him down. Yeah, it looked like Warfield was trying to run that one in for Prior Lake, and we've got a flag back at the 30-yard, or up at the 30-yard line, I should say.
It's a little unclear who this is going to be on. It was well away from the play. My guess is it's going to be a personal foul penalty on somebody either blocking or not being blocked down the field.
Yeah, because it's a good 10 yards from the line of scrimmage, and it's out near midfield, and that run ended up going to the right. So, did the Eagan receiver come in from the left side and do something, or just a little over-aggressiveness by the Lakers? Officials taking their time on this one. Checking with the booth in New York, maybe.
Yeah, although I do see some Eagan Wildcat offensive linemen applauding. So perhaps that's tipping the hand of the New York booth. Now, what's interesting is why. What's a bit interesting is precisely what the. If we know what the penalty is and we're officials, we should probably know what the yardage is. So is the only question then, do we add it from the end of the run versus do we add it from line of scrimmage? Is that what we're thinking?
Personal foul on Prior Lake. There you go. The second of the game thus far for the Lakers. And again, I did not see the penalty. We saw the flag afterwards.
Yeah, the penalty flag came in from the official furthest away from the line of scrimmage in the crew in the middle of the field. And it's a little unclear precisely how that was called, but there's clearly an explanation going on.
Bottom line is Eagan's going to get an additional 15 yards, and it's going to be a fresh set of downs from the 36-yard line.
It sure is.
Okay. It's not a bad 1-yard run for the Cats, I guess.
No, you'll take 16 yards on first down, whether you get them the right way, the wrong way, or any other way.
Coach G on the Prior Lake side cannot be happy thus far with the lack of discipline by his Lakers.
No, well, and quite candidly, Mike, a lack of discipline and taking penalties like that's indicative of a team that shows up off the bus and thinks they're just going to sleepwalk through a game. I mean, that's a team that's not focused. That's a team that's not paying attention or not doing what they've been coached, I'm sure, all week to do.
And there is quite a discussion over on the Prior Lake sideline with our referee and members of the Prior Lake coaching staff. Should mention, good turnout tonight by the Prior Lake student section. Looks like they've got kind of a blackout going tonight. Here in the pit, it's a camo out. So a lot of kids look like they're ready to go deer hunting already, which is about a month early, but looks like they're ready to go.
Well, I'm glad you can see them, Mike, because I can't see them. They're all wearing camouflage, I guess.
Really, we'll be here all night. Just to keep the jokes going.
That's right. That's right.
All right, so I think we're about ready to play football here once again. All right. That right arm is in motion. We've got a whistle. Hey, there we go.
Play resumes. First and 10.
Let me tell these officials, it's kind of chilly out here now. Let's get moving. So bottom line after all that, first down Wildcats at the Prior Lake 36-yard line. Sorensen long count there for the Wildcats. And he's going to looking near side, going to go back far side. And just off the hands. Actually, that's caught on the far side by the Wildcats.
It was tipped in the air by Hansen. Yep. And I think it's Meakin. Was it Meakin who comes across and catches the ball? It's hard to see. Or is that Lyons?
No, I believe that is 12.
Okay, so looks like what happens is so Sorensen chucks the ball up in the air, puts a little too much air on it. Hansen tips it in the air, and Meakin is there to gobble up the leftovers and makes what could have been a disaster, kind of a weird play, maybe an interception or something. Takes that and turns it into a nice 5-6 yard pickup.
Yeah, they don't all have to be pretty, but that one is effective. So it is 2nd and 5. Sorensen, pitch back, near side, nicely by Prior Lake. Good swarming defense there by the Lakers. That's going to cost the Wildcats about a yard. Lyons, the ball carrier, a number of Prior Lake Lakers in on that way, and I believe first man in was number 22, Cole Warfield. So -1 that time. It's going to be 3rd and, long. for the Wildcats.
Well, Mike, that was an uncharacteristically tentative display of Mike Carter Lyons in terms of where he wanted to stick the ball. He's usually very decisive on saying, I'm going this way and I'm going to make you stop me. That time there was a little bit of hesitation in his feet. A well-designed play, but unfortunately that time, as you say, Prior Lake sniffed it out.
Yeah, 3rd and 5 for the Cats. Sorensen looking to get another first down. Did Prior Lake jump right there? There's flags. Well, Prior Lake jump, got back, and then it looks like an Eagan lineman move. We'll see which way they go with this one. And it is going to be a false start on the Wildcats.
Dead ball foul, false start penalty against
Well, that's another mental mistake, Mike. I mean, I understand. Look, being a former offensive lineman, I know how nerve-wracking it can be to count to 2. I get it. I've been there once in a while in my career. I jumped off sides when I shouldn't have. But, you know, 2 things. Number 1, if you're going to jump off sides, hit the guy across the line from you. And number 2, don't do it again. So we had 2 false start penalties here in the first quarter, Mike, and that doesn't bode well for Eagan.
3rd and 10 Cats. They need to get out to the 46-yard line to move the sticks. You would think passing situation for Sorensen making his first varsity start for the Wildcats. Prior Lake looking blitz from the outside. Sorensen steps it up, tucks it under, and he's going to get about 6, maybe 7 balls. Is the ball loose? Prior Lake thinks it is. The officials say he is down, however.
Well, the Prior Lake sideline is not jumping up and down and screaming. And so you would think that if they thought there was a fumble over there, there would be a lot of activity, a lot of waving of arms on the other far side, but there's not. So nonetheless, what was interesting there is Sorensen made a decision very early on. He was going to pull that ball down and run with it. He had some room. He got 6-7 yards, but unfortunately they needed 10.
Yeah, it was Duford, first man in for Prior Lake, and I believe he's back to return the punt for the Prior Lake Lakers. A low kick, he may not be able to return on this one as it's going to take a favorable. Actually, he will pick it up back at about the 23-yard line. He'll get about 9 before he's knocked down out of bounds. And I stand corrected, it was not Duford, it was the number 28 instead. That's Jackson Jaycox for the Prior Lake Lakers. Or I should say Jackyse, the 5'10 senior for Prior Lake. Apologize if we're butchering that name.
Jaycox, we got that. We got that one down.
Absolutely. So from the 32-yard line, already up by a 6-0 count, come the Prior Lake Lakers. Pass formation definitely this time, but instead they're going to swing it out to the right side. Good stiff arm there, but not enough to disrupt the Eagan tackler. And it's going to be Keaton Schrader that time for Prior Lake. He's actually going to lose about a yard on that play.
Well, great play by Gamboni stepping up and making that play. Candidly, Mike, from where I'm sitting up here in the booth, I thought Gamboni was going to get beat to the corner. But Gamboni did a great job of accelerating through that block and not stopping his feet. He kept his feet moving, and that kept his momentum moving to the point where he was able to make a good tackle in the open field.
Prior Lake here, 2nd and 11 with about 45 to go. It's going to be a far side. Good play there by the Eagan defense coming up, making the stop on Schroeder. Try to see who that is for the Wildcats. Was it 0-2 maybe? LeBert, the stop for the Wildcats. Of course, Eagan with those dark gray jerseys with the blue numbers. Hard enough to read on a normal night, and you had a little mist in there. And we might be having ourselves a little issue here tonight with the numbers, but 3rd and 13 for Prior Lake on what could be the final play of the quarter. O'Connor, good pressure there by the Cats. O'Connor rolling. Lets it go. Got a man near midfield, and that's going to be a first down right in front of Coach Hansen. And that's the touchdown man, Marlier. It's his 4th catch of this quarter for Marlier onto the 49-yard line.
Well, he certainly proved to be a safety blanket there for O'Connor. O'Connor had an opportunity there to be sacked by the Eagan defensive line. They had good pressure, made him move his feet, made him roll to the left. He's a right-handed quarterback. That's what you want to do. That's a good thing. Unfortunately, we lost the coverage on Marlier, and we just can't do that.
22 yards on that one. Now this should be the final play of the quarter, and we've got whistles aplenty. It took all of about 2.2 seconds off that. We've got a false start against Prior Lake.
And what's most excusable about that one, Mike, is that it's a wide receiver that jumped off sides. You know, wide receivers don't have to block anybody usually. They usually get a half second to kind of clear their head when the ball's snapped. And so for a wide receiver who's looking down the line, who's a good 20 yards away from the ball to jump, is Yes, definitely another mental mistake. And we've seen several of them here by Prior Lake tonight already.
Let's see, there's 3.6 ticks left on the clock. Get everybody all situated.
Hey, where do they want it at?
Nope, got to get the clock readjusted. Apparently, word is coming up here to the press box. 5.8 they're going to say on the clock for this one. So actually, that 2.2 they took off goes right back on.
Well, in the magical world of high school football, we can add and take away time, and it's a magical process that usually involves a bunch of grown men yelling through microphones at each other. But in this case, that's precisely what happened. And of course, it makes sense because if you have a false start before the play actually occurs, then the clock should theoretically run.
Yep. All right, we got the clock situated. So let's see if O'Connor, he's perfect through the air thus far. Unofficially, he's got 107 yards in this opening quarter. And there's a fumble, and who's got it? I believe O'Connor was able to dive back in and get it for the Lakers.
Well, I think Prior Lake's got this football, but nonetheless, that's still.
Indeed, they do.
That's still an excellent job by Eagan to jump on that, to try to jump on that ball. I mean, there's an opportunity there. Now, even if they don't recover the ball, they're still looking at second down and about 16 yards. Which, if they can play defense on Barley Air next on second down and third down, they might have a chance to stop these guys.
Well, let's see what they can do. We're going to take ourselves a very quick break. You're watching Wildcat football on ETV.
Right at the concession stand is open at the southwest corner and south end of the stadium, operated by the Eagan High School football boosters. Variety of food, snacks, and beverages are on sale. On your way back from the concession stand, be sure to stop by the Factory Motor Parts booth. Try your hand at games of skill, win prizes, and more. Factory Motor Parts is a proud supporter of Eagan Athletics. The Wildcat fans, the Eagan Wildcats cheer team is coached by Jessica Schmidt. A big thank you to our Wildcat cheer team for all that they do to add spirit to our home football games. Fans, a big hand for the Eagan Wildcats cheer team.
All right, we're back inside Wildcat country. We're after 12 minutes of play. It's the Prior Lake Lakers 6 and the Eagan Wildcats nothing. Prior Lake right now is looking at a first and about second and 15 after a fumbled snap. Good pressure there by the Cats, but Prior Lake's got a man far side, and he's going to get out of bounds near the Wildcat 48-yard line. That's going to be a pickup of about 6 that time for Prior Lake. Prior Lake had a 22-yard pass right before the end of the quarter that got him up near midfield. So now we're looking at a third and about 9 for Prior Lake. We're in the Road Whites.
2nd and 8.
You're in Wildcat country on a typical October Friday night. 49 degrees at kickoff, a little mist in the air, not much wind. And O'Connor to throw it. O'Connor's gone down the middle looking for his man and just overthrown it off the hands of number 7, Ellis. Well, he was open too. He catches that ball, he's gone.
Yeah, he scores if he catches that football. I'm a little bit concerned that the Eagan safeties did not seem to pick that up and that he was going to come fully running through the formation. But nonetheless, I mean, it is fourth down and about 9 yards here. Fourth down and about 8, 9. Eagan held. Assuming nothing weird happens here on this punt, Eagan held is going to get the ball back, Mike.
Back deep for the Wildcats, number 10, Isaac Hofstad. Punt returner earlier in the year, and Eagan's trying to couple other guys in that position. Let's take a look where this one ends up. And Hofstad will just dive on it just outside the 10-yard line. So Cats are going to start deep in their own end on their third drive of tonight's football game.
That's certainly not ideal field position, but nonetheless, the opportunity to get, the ball out of O'Connor's hand, take the ball away from a prolific Prior Lake offense. That's what you want to do if you're on defense.
First and 10.
Looks like the ball is going to be spotted at the 12-yard line. So the Cats thus far have started on their own 16, their own 20, and now their own 12.
And certainly they are so far losing the battle of field position. The scoreboard's the most important thing, but field position certainly helps.
And again, for those of you just tuning in, new quarterback tonight, Colby Sorensen for the Wildcats, the sophomore. His first varsity start for the Gray. There's Lions running into just about half the guys on the field. and he might have got back to the line of scrimmage, but there is a flag on the near side.
Carter Lyons, number 9 carries.
I think that's in the area where maybe it's going to be a hold potentially on Prior Lake on their corner who was looking at the Eagan receiver. Let's take a look. Prior Lake already has 2 personal fouls this game. And actually, it's going to be a false start on the Wildcats. So there's that receiver again you mentioned. The Prior Lake will decline. Actually, if the player, wouldn't that be a probably no gain bottom line for the Cats?
Well, the signal may have been, actually, Mike, it's good. You're probably, you and I are thinking the same thing, but my guess is what they're going to call is some sort of illegal shift or motion forward at the snap of the ball.
Yeah, that was my thought.
As opposed to a false start. So they're going to take the result of the play, which for Prior Lake makes more sense.
Absolutely.
Gain of 1, 2nd and 9 from the 13.
They're going to say they're going to give them 1 on that last play. Maybe mercifully. Straight ahead. And actually, we're on the right side. Minimal gain. There's maybe a couple that time for the Wildcats.
Number 9, Carter
Lyons, the ball carrier again for Eagan.
Lyons took a big lick at the end of that play, and the trainer's going to have to come out and take a look at him. There was some heavy contact there. Lyons went up and over the tackler. Tackler's helmet went around Lyons' lower extremities. So, I mean, I suspect he may have the wind knocked out of him here. Hopefully that's all that it didn't look like his legs were hit or anything like that. It just looked like a solid hit in between two very strong forces.
You look at Carter Lyons coming into this one, 100 attempts, 510 yards, and he had a couple of them, I believe 2 of them went 73 yards, the Rosemount game and I believe the Shakopee game as well. Last week, a very punishing evening, shall we say. Carter had 26 carries for 129 up on the turf there at TCO Stadium. But we talked to Coach Hansen last week and we asked about Carter, and he said Carter's a kid just says, "Give me the ball." You gotta wish you had 53 Carter Lyons on your team.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, who wouldn't, right? I mean, he's, from my perspective, Mike, if I think he's clearly the most valuable player on this football team. If at the end of a year award or something like that, he brings a tremendous amount of passion, a tremendous amount of energy and skill. He's not out there just woofing and getting people going and then not producing. He does a great job of producing when he's on the field.
I can't tell if that's an ankle or a knee, but yeah, he's definitely limping and definitely needing help, not being able to put a lot of weight on that leg.
And that is not good news for Eagan.
No.
It's not good news for Carter Lyons. It's not good news for anyone. I mean, Eagan does have some other running backs they can give the ball to, Gibson, McGinley, etc. But Meekin. But Carter Lyons, there's a reason why he is so special to this football team.
I would imagine they will help him all the way over to the bench while his teammates out on the field with a minute gone by in the second quarter face a 3rd and 6 from their own 16-yard line. You're only down 6-0, but if you don't get this, you do not want to give Prior Lake excellent field position, which most likely would happen on a punt. And the Cats move. There was definitely some movement.
There's a right tackle, Mike.
And there's the official signal. That time it is a false start.
Yep. Against the Wildcats.
That's 3 false starts. Well, technically 4 because they called one here 2 plays ago, even though we thought it was something else. But bottom line, it's another penalty for the Eagan Wildcats.
Yep. And again, that's these are not penalties of aggression. These aren't penalties of I accidentally face masked somebody, I hit somebody out of bounds, I hit somebody, the quarterback late. This is I'm not paying attention, I'm not listening, I'm thinking about what the block I'm going to make rather than what the snap count, and I'm getting nervous about what's across the line of scrimmage for me.
So McGinley is in the backfield. I believe Gibson is with him. Prior Lake thinking about blitzing a couple guys up the middle. Yeah, they're going to bring them too. Here's Sorensen. He's got to throw it out. Trying to get near side too high for Hansen, and it's going to be punt time for the Eagan Wildcats. Luke Loring back on the coverage for Prior Lake.
Sorensen was going to struggle there. I mean, he's coming to the boundary or to the wide side of the field, which is good, but unfortunately, he's moving. He's a right-handed quarterback rolling left, and he had at least 3 Lakers looked like hot on his tail. It was going to be an incredible play to make a play there, and Hansen really never had a chance with that ball.
Jaycock's back deep. Well, do we dare say deep? He's standing on the Wildcat 44, and will he be able to field this one as the ball's going to roll dead just across the 40-yard line?
Punt is
So
down
just
at
under
the
10 minutes to go
Wildcat
here in the
41
opening
yard
half.
line.
Prior Lake up by a 6-0 count. Outstanding field position at the Wildcat
30
41-yard
yards
line.
on the punt, no return.
Yeah, Egan's defense really needs to step up here and make
Prior
some
Lake
big play.
takes
Now they
over first
did
and 10 at the
force
Wildcat
a
41-yard
punt
line.
from Prior Lake last time they were out there, but this is, in this field position with this offense, I have to believe they're in 4-down territory.
Yeah.
Unless they have, I don't know what, don't know that they want to kick a field goal on a wet night tonight like the way they are. So, they're probably in 4-down territory. So Egan's going to have to really buckle its chin straps.
3 receivers for the Lakers on this one. O'Connor's going to look left. He's going for all on the first play. Got his man down inside the 20.
Connor's pass
And that's
completed.
going to be
Catch
guess
is
who
made.
for Prior Lake. Once again, number 13
Number
on the play is
13,
Marlier.
Spencer Marlier.
Marlier, I guess they're saying officially. Apologize if we butchered that one, but down to the 10-yard line. That's a 31-yard pickup.
It looks like we have an injury on the field, and I think it's the aforementioned
Well, at the
Marlier as
12-yard
well.
line.
I think
Time out
that
for the
he looks like
injury.
he's not getting up he's still on a knee, which would be,
Yeah, there he goes.
well, okay, so he's going to go.
Might
but-
just had the wind knocked out of him.
Yep.
Gain of
Well, that's
29
good to
yards
see
on
because
that
you don't want
last
certainly anyone to get hurt, but no. Again, that time we have a
First
Prior
and
Lake
10,
wide receiver
Lakers
running
at
free
the
in our
Wildcat
defensive
12-yard
secondary, and
line.
we're not coming up to make a play on the ball.
Ball's going to officially be spotted at the 12-yard line, so it will be a 29-yard pass. Prior Lake looking to go up by 2 scores here early in the second quarter on ETV. O'Connor throws it across the middle, trying to find his man, number 7, but could not get him. Ellis was
Connor's
covered
pass
nicely back
incomplete.
there.
Intended the receiver on the play, Tucker Ellis, number 7.
Well, that time, you're right, Mike. At that time, the coverage was excellent. That time, I'm still,
down.
and I'm going to sound like a broken record. I want to see this defensive line get off some blocks. I want to see this defensive
Second and
line
10, Lakers
either
from the
dip and rip,
Wildcat 12.
shuck, swim. I want to see them getting to O'Connor.
Second and 10. O'Connor throws a little pass, short pass. Still on his feet, gets down inside the 10-yard line. That's Ellis once again. Picks up about 3, maybe 4. Bottom line is it's going to be 3rd and long
Connor's pass
for
completed to
Prior
Tucker Ellis,
Lake, and
number
they're going to spot
7.
that ball at the 9-yard line, so they're going to say 3 yards on that one.
9-yard line, a gain of 3.
Now down deep, this deep though, I would say this, Mike. Down deep, this deep, you might kick a field goal. So I wonder what that's going to
Lakers
dictate their
from the
play call
line.
here on 3rd down.
I don't know. They've got 2 guys to the left, 1 to the right. And instead, they're going to run it straight ahead, powering his way forward. I believe that's Shaver. And indeed, it is number 6 for Prior Lake. Mr. Shaver is going to be down to the 4, which is going to set up a 3rd and about 3 yards. Check that 4th down, my bad. We're going to say 5 yards on that run.
4th and about 2.
Well, the Wildcats need to
for the
bring,
Lakers
as I
from
said
the
before, they've
4-yard
got to
line.
buckle their chin straps here. They've got to come up with something big. You got to cover Marlier out on the outside. He's the only receiver right now out there. You got to double him or jump that inside slant. Don't let him inside.
There goes Spencer. He gets to the inside. Does he got enough? It's going to be close. Boy, the official coming in from the far side at the angle we're on him. Boy, it's going to be really close. Cats think they stopped him.
In on that tackle, Brett Heinlein,
Heinlein on the stop.
And it's close enough that nobody's celebrating and nobody's getting excited. Now Egan's the defense
There
is
you go.
excited. Now they're coming off the field. It looks like it's going to be 1st down Egan.
Nice job there by the Wildcat
Wildcats will
defense.
take
What a way to
down.
step up for those guys.
Absolutely. So Egan's going to take over with 7:53 to go in the opening half. They're only down by a 6-0 count after that defensive stand.
I think the clock is still running too.
Yeah. So 1st and 10, 1st down from the 5-yard line for the Cats. And we've got Cats are all gathered around Coach Hansen along the near sideline. And there's the whistle.
At the Wildcat 2-yard line.
Things going.
1st and 10 Wildcats.
1st
From
and
the
10
2.
for the Eagan Wildcats. Again, Colby Sorensen, the sophomore quarterback, number 4, leading the Cats on. And we've got whistles on the field for... Now I guess we're ready to go. Okay. Straight ahead, Sorensen. Fumble on the ground, and Prior Lake's got it off the bottom of the pile. See that man's number? Looks like number
Well, there, Colby Sorensen, the quarterback, number 4.
27, I believe that is for Prior Lake on the fumble recovery. Austin Gordon. That ball popped straight out Brown at Prior Lake's got it.
Quarterback sneak that
Off the
time, Mike,
bottom
and they
of the
did an excellent
pile.
job of moving the ball, trying to get it out of the shadow of their own goalpost, and then for some unexplained reason that ball comes out.
First and goal.
I'm not sure that we were going to ever have a, unless we could dial that back on slow motion, I'm not sure we're ever going to know. But credit to Prior Lake if they were able to pop that ball out. It's a huge plus for them.
First down from the Wildcat 9. Spencer 9, 8, 7, maybe gets to the 6. Maybe gets to the 6. 55 Heinlein in there for the Wildcats on the stop. Actually, they're going to spot him at the 7. So a 2-yard run there. Vinny LeBaire in as well for the Wildcats on that one.
3-yard gain to the 6-yard line. Second and goal, Lakers.
Prior Lake 1-2. They've got a 3 receiver set, 2 right. O'Connor, he'll keep it. He's got Spencer on the lead block. Good job by the Wildcats. Good surge to get to the Laker quarterback.
Several Wildcats in on the tackle.
And he might have got 1 yard on that play. Might have.
Well, I have to say I like the mix of run and pass here with Prior Lake. They're doing a good job of keeping it fresh and not going to the well too many times. At the same time, however, the Eagan Wildcat defense that time, the front 7 did an excellent job of stringing that ball out and gang tackling. There wasn't just 1 or 2 Wildcats there. I think there were about 4 or 5.
Third and goal for Prior Lake, just outside the 5. O'Connor is going to throw it, and Ellis, the intended target. Good coverage back there by the Wildcats. Gamboni, I believe, on the coverage.
Ellis, number 7.
Well, as challenges our defensive backs, quite candidly, have been against some bigger, faster, better receivers in terms of skilled receivers. That was excellent coverage. He was right there. There was a little bit of contact to make the receiver a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe, I'm sure the Prior Lake coaching staff probably was looking for maybe a flag there, but that didn't happen for him, and now it's 4th down and goal.
Yep. Do you dare think about a quarterback keep here? No, you don't. You throw it. Throws it across the middle, and that ball is deflected by Sackmaster. Cats hold again inside their own 10-yard line. Eagan to take over on the 6-yard line.
All right, well, if you're an offensive player, you got to give your defense a huge high five as they come off the field. That's the second time in 2 drives they've stopped a prolific offense inside their own 5-yard line. If you're the offense here, as a matter of pride, as a matter of just being able to look your teammates in the eye, you got to get a first down here. You got to move this ball out of your own end zone.
Cole Sackmaster, last week he had 9 solos, 6 helpers from his defensive position. Oh, yeah, and he had that pick 6 as well.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was just thinking in my head, that was kind of the first thing that popped into my head, but I was glad you got to it.
Cats, looks like they're going to, that ball is gone again, and guess what? Prior Lake says they have it. The officials say, and the officials agree.
On the play recovered by Prior Lake.
Well, can the Eagan defense make a 3rd straight stop?
Well, I think if they do, they ought to be nominated for some sort of award here across the Metro. It's incomprehensible to me that the Eagan Wildcats can't hold on to the football. I have no idea. I mean, at this point, maybe we're better off just taking a knee and getting to halftime. Because with 5:44 left, because right now we're coughing up the ball every time we try to run the football.
Just past the halfway point of quarter number 2. Somehow it's only 6-0 Prior Lake. And speaking of 6, guess who just got 6? Yeah, that's number 6. Spencer Shaver for Prior Lake, 10 yards to the house.
10 yards, touchdown. Prior Lake.
Well, that was almost too easy for him. I'm running that straight ahead. Good job by the Prior Lake offensive line to open up some holes.
Well, this is at the end of the goal line drill at the end of a practice, Mike. If you give a competent offense, 3 shots from the 15-yard line, if they can't score at least 1 touchdown, they should probably take up pinochle or something because they've got to make that happen.
Ellis is their kicker, but they're going to go for 2 straight ahead. Oh, actually, it's going to be a pitch and then a throw. And they got him in the corner of the end zone. 2 points for Prior Lake. Ellis on the reception. On the throw from, it looks like number 23 for Prior Lake, Nick Tice. 14-0 Lakers, 5:37 to go here in the opening half on ETV. Should apologize to our viewers out there. We I don't know if there's our monitor not working up here in the booth tonight, so we're not sure if we're seeing replays out there. So somehow it's only 6-0 in Prior Lake. And speaking of 6, guess who just got 6? Yeah, that's number 6.
That would be the first time we've been accused of that.
Prior Lake.
But, ultimately, if you're Eagan, you find yourself down 14-0 right now to a pretty good Prior Lake team. Your defense is absolutely standing on its head. I mean, it's, the question is, can our offense get it together? Can our offense put something together? 2 straight fumbles on 2 straight plays, giving the other team the ball inside the 15-yard line. Are you kidding me? I mean, Prior Lake should be ahead by 4 touchdowns right now. And they're not, and that's, if you're Eagan, you got to at least take some. You got to take some, solace in that. You got 3 timeouts. You got 5:37 left. If you get a good return here, we've got to have a good return. We don't want to be inside our own 20 again. We got to get a good return, and we'll see what happens.
Eagan has lost 3 fumbles this half.
Is number 8,
and they're all the 21 yards and in on that right side of the field. Again, Hanson, McGinley deep for the Wildcats. This looks like it's McGinley's ball, and indeed it is from about the 3. Here comes McGinley, ahead of steam. Get out near the 25-yard line. Egan's best starting position yet tonight with 5:29 to go here in the opening half.
From his 4-yard line.
They're going to spot the ball officially, it looks like, at the 24-yard line. So if you're the Cats, is it 2 hands on the ball right here?
I'd go with 3. Yeah, I'd go with 3. Candidly, Mike, I'm not sure what the offensive line, I think, did a good job of eating their Wheaties this morning. I'm not sure what the ball carriers are doing, because clearly, 2 fumbles in that regard, in that position, are just ridiculous.
We said it is damp out here. There's a light mist falling in Wildcat country. It's been raining basically off and on for the past 3, 4, 5 days, whatever it is now we're up to. Here's Gibson for the Wildcats, and he'll get out near the 30-yard line. Actually, looks like they're going to say just across the 30-yard line, judging by the official on the near side. And indeed, they will say 6 yards out to the 7 yards that time, out to the 31.
That was a good surge by the offensive line. A nice job by Gibson. Looked like he might have been stopped for maybe a couple of yards, and then he bounced, Mike. It looked like to the outside. Did a nice job. I mean, again, this is perfect. 7 yards on first down. You'll take it every time.
3 Wildcats at their 31.
There's 2 guys in the backfield, and I believe the up back is Lyons back in. Trying to bounce to the outside, cuts back inside. That's going to be enough for a first down for the Eagan Wildcats. And actually, that is Lyons right there. He was the deep back. Gibson was the up back, pardon me.
It was a great block there. I couldn't tell who it was. I know Meekin was one of the 2, but the Wildcats got a nice double-team seal block on the left side to allow Lyons to knife his way over that side. Nice job there by the offensive line and by Meekin closing down. I'm not sure if Meekin came from the tight end or the slot position, but either way, there was a nice pancake there to set it up an opportunity for Lions. And again, this is the kind of thing that Eagan can do if they can just stay away from penalties. They can hold on to the football.
Yeah, we called Max Meekin yet tonight, number 12 for the Wildcats. He had those 2 big runs a week ago. Sorensen to throw. He's rolling right, throwing far side. And there's a flag on the play out near the reception area. Let's see what this is going to be all about.
We might have an illegal man downfield. I'm a little concerned about that. It looked like we had somebody downfield, but we'll see what happens. See what the call is.
Actually, they're going to pick it up.
Okay.
Disregard the flag.
So it's going to be 2nd and 10 upcoming for the Wildcats.
Well, fortunately, we didn't need a 5-minute conference to figure out we were picking up the flag tonight. So we got to keep things moving for these fans who paid good money to be here tonight, right?
That's right. And those watching us at home on here on ETV, thanks for being with us. Hello to those of you, by the way, in Scott County watching your Prior Lake Lakers. Hopefully there's some of you here tonight watching us. 2 receivers right for the Wildcats. Prior Lake just pretty much a base defense there. Here comes near side. That's, slipping and falling. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. Was coming up off the bottom of the pile is Lyons.
Number 9 carries.
Well, there's 3.5 minutes, just under 3.5 minutes left in the game, or excuse me, in the half, Mike. And, you know, if you're Eagan, you've got 3 timeouts. At some point here, if you get a first down, you can start thinking about using those timeouts and maybe taking some shots down the field, seeing what kind of arm Sorensen has. So far, he's been putting a lot of air under the ball. I'll be interested to see if they give him a shot to try to throw one as far as he can and see what he can do.
Conversely, if you're Prior Lake, you've got 3 timeouts as well. And if he can, say, for example, runs his ball and comes up short, you spend a timeout here.
Absolutely.
I would agree. I would agree. 3rd and long for the Cats. Long count coming from the outside. Herbst for Prior Lake. Those swing pass Lions couldn't quite hang on. Ignore that talk about Prior Lake using a timeout because the clock will stop on the incompletion.
All right. Negative is we're punting the football if you're Eagan. Positive is they got the ball out of their own. You know, they're not going to give Prior Lake the football, hopefully, on their own half, right? And that's what that's what you got to be excited about here. If you're Eagan fan, you're saying, look, we're down by 2 touchdowns against a very good football team. We're punting to them, and they're not going to get the ball. If our coverage is good, they're not going to get the ball down deep in our end.
Joe Kruger, the punter, is averaging 37.4 coming in, and that's going to be short of that mark. And very returnable punt, spin move, and it gets into Eagan territory. Is the punt returner for the Prior Lake Lakers. That's Jake Hawks. He's going to get the ball out to the Wildcat 46 with 2:36 to go, and Prior Lake, as we said, has all 3 timeouts.
Well, if you're going to come up, if you're Coach Hansen and you're the Eagan Wildcat coaching staff, now's the time to dial up something different. Now's the time to dial up. I don't know if it's a blitz, if it's dropping 8 in coverage, whatever it is. Now's the time to come up with something different because Prior Lake has seen some stuff. They've moved the football a little bit. You want to see if you can knock these guys off schedule right away.
O'Connor's got one man in the backfield with him, and he will throw it on first down. He's going for the home run ball. Far side, and that ball is going to be just overthrown on the far side. And once again, guess who the intended target was? Number 13, Marlier.
Oh, I thought you were going to give me a chance to guess. But it's funny. What you should have done is give me 3 guesses. But you know what? I only would have needed 1.
Exactly.
2nd and 10.
So that play took all of 7 seconds.
At the Wildcat
defensive back was right with him, though.
Yep,
I mean, defensive back was not only right with him, but he turned his head at the end. So to eliminate the opportunity for Marlier to draw some sort of contact penalty. So nice coverage there by the Wildcats.
Well, we talked about it with Coach Hansen. They were going man-to-man last week, and they got absolutely torched by Farmington on that. They're straight ahead, and it's going to be a first down for Prior Lake down to the 35-yard line. Heaton Schrader, the ball carrier.
Well, sometimes you guess right. Sometimes you guess right. Sometimes you guess wrong. That time, Eagan had both linebackers look like blitzing the A gaps, and Prior Lake was able to pop the ball to the outside and the B gap on the outside. And then, of course, once you've blitzed your linebackers, it's hard for them to try to turn around and make the play down the field.
First and 10 Lakers.
Schroeder in the backfield with O'Connor. O'Connor to throw. He's going for it all once again. Tries to get Jaycock's far side. A little bit of pushing and shoving down there by both sides. And the ball does fall incomplete. I believe that was 0-2 on the coverage for the Wildcats.
Yeah, it was good coverage. It was up against the sideline. That was going to be a heck of a catch. The ball looked like it might have even landed out of bounds if it had been allowed to hit the ground without any kind of interference. I think O'Connor wants that one back. I mean, I'm sure he would prefer to put a ball a little bit if you're going to complete the pass, you got to throw it inbounds.
McGinley was over there, by the way, as well for the Wildcats.
Can this defensive line get to O'Connor? That's the question.
2nd and 10 for O'Connor and the Lakers. Yeah, we'll run it straight ahead of Schroeder. Bounces the outside, eludes one tackle. He's got some room on that far side. That's a first down. Can he go all the way? 6 points for Prior Lake. 35-yard run.
Schroeder, 35 yards.
Oh, you don't need a quarterback to carry you on his arm when you've got a guy you can turn around and hand the ball off to. They did a good job of handing, not only making the play and handing the ball off and getting with a good head of steam, but they had a great seal block on the left side, Mike. I couldn't pick up what number it was, but one of the wide receivers was doing an excellent job of blocking down the field. And let's face it, if you get out of your lanes and you get pinned inside, you've got limited options in terms of stopping that guy.
PAT attempt by number 7, Ellis. 0 for 1 on the PATs tonight. Kick is up. Plenty of leg, and it's good. Buck 51 to go in the opening half, and Prior Lake has upped its lead now to 21-0 over the Eagan Wildcats on the last home game of the year for the Eagan Wildcats, who travel to Eastview next Friday night, the 12th. Wednesday the 17th, they're at top-ranked Lakeville North. And then they've got a playoff game somewhere where they're going to be playing somebody that's had an awfully good regular season.
Well, if you're Eagan, you have an opportunity here to do something. Your defense has already shown that they have the ability to step up and play. Our offense, quite frankly, just hasn't shown that yet in this game. Now, it's not that they have done a poor job. They just haven't done what they need to do in terms of being able to move this football. Although I should say, 2 fumbles in back-to-back possessions that's definitely something you can't have. It's inexcusable if you're trying to be a competent football offense. But again, that's when you have 15 to 18-year-old boys, holding the ball, and sometimes it's going to happen
on a wet field. See a few more umbrellas popping up on the home side of the stands, and those that have been up for a while have a lot of moisture on them.
Yeah, and we're fortunate that we're up here in the press box. We don't have heat, but at least we're dry.
I just rub it in for our fans.
Yes.
For those of you that are home enjoying a nice cup of your favorite beverage, maybe got some chips, got your fireplace going. I hope you're enjoying the game so far here on ETV. And Eagan is going to get that ball at the 20-yard line on a touchback. 35 if it's outside of the pylon, but it just got inside and kind of been that kind of quarter for the Wildcats.
It sure has. I mean, it's again, at the risk of sounding like the broken record, what you're looking for here is some good luck, right? Some good luck, something to bounce your way. Coughing up the football deep in your own end twice is definitely not that. These Eagan Wildcats need to put together something. Now, they have a minute, just less than 2 minutes. So they have a minute 51 to go. They've got 3 timeouts. Let's see what they can do. My guess is the first thing they want to do is get a first down.
Gibson the up back, Lyons the deep back. First down from the 20. Sorensen to Lyons. He's wrapped up Herbst and company for Prior Lake. And if you're Prior Lake, you take a timeout here. Yes, you do. You've got all 3 of them. Why not?
No, absolutely. It makes sense. I mean, that's absolutely what should happen. So, I mean, the goal here for Eagan, given the timeout that was called on first down, the goal here for Eagan is to get a first down, Mike. I mean, they have to get a first down so that they are in control of whether this half ends 21-0 or whether that they can try to get some points on the board. But they can't let Prior Lake score here, or it's really, I mean, last week aside, it's going to be a long, long night.
Absolutely. We mentioned the Eagan schedule coming up. Prior Lake, by the way, we mentioned next Friday night, the 12th, they're up at TCO Stadium at the Vikings training facility. That battle with number 1 Lakeville North. And then they finished their regular season at home against Eastview on Wednesday the 17th. And then it'll be playoff time before we know it in Class 6A. First games, I believe, will be Friday, October the 26th. I believe the smaller classes actually start on Tuesday the 23rd. Then the big schools go Friday, and then once again Saturday for classes 9-man through 5A. Lakeville North will try and get some score updates as we go along, but they're up at Maple Grove tonight. Farmington's over at Burnsville. Lakeville South is visiting Rosemount for the Irish homecoming. And Eastview made the trek up to the western suburbs. They're playing Wyzetta tonight. So Kelly Sherwin's squad up against the Trojans. $1:42 to go before the half. Prior Lake 2 timeouts yet. Cats to run it once again. There's Lyons. Minimal gain, a number of Lakers in there, and I would imagine we're going to see timeout once again taken by Coach G and the Lakers. We do. Spencer Shaver among those in on the stop for Prior Lake.
Prior Lake definitely going for the dagger here. If they can somehow get this ball back with decent field position and punch it in again, it might be all she wrote for the night. But I think if you're Eagan, as much as you want to run the football here and make them use their last timeout, I think part of you says to yourself, as a coaching staff, you have to say to yourself, look, we have Sorensen in there at quarterback. He's new, he's young. He might be having a little trouble seeing over the offensive line because he looks a little slight of build in terms of height wise. But let's give it to the kid and see what he can do. Let's get him on a rollout to the right, get Hansen at the sticks and see what happens, or get Meekin at the sticks, or run Carter Lyons on a wheel route and just let Sorensen chuck it up to him and see what happens down the field. That way, if it's intercepted, it's 20 yards down to 30 yards down the field. If not, maybe we get a penalty or something. So I think at some point here they have to throw the ball because ultimately, Prior Lake saving a timeout versus not saving a timeout. I don't think it's going to matter if you're turning over the ball on your own end.
Well, it's going to be third and about 8. And Gibson and Lyons in the backfield. Gibson up to the up back. Long count, Prior Lake thinking a blitz. Shaver's going to come. Look out. Good hustle here by Sorensen. Cuts it up, and he's going to be dropped, and I would imagine Prior Lake takes that final timeout. First man in there for Prior Lake, I believe, was Blake Whaley, 6'3", 220 off the defensive line for the Lakers. And that ball's going to get out to all of the 24-yard line, so maybe a 3-yard pickup for the Wildcat quarterback. And it's going to be punt time. And I just glanced at the stats. Eagan had 2 first downs in that opening drive this half. They've had 2 since.
4th and 6 upcoming.
And 2 fumbles. Just not a good, far from a solid 24 minutes, you could say.
Yeah, so far from a solid 24 minutes. Really struggling to be mentally focused on and making sure you're running with 5 points of contact on that football and making sure you can count to 2 if you're on the offensive line and things like that. It's those are things that sometimes players are going to make mistakes on. Now, that being said, I like what I saw out of Sorensen on that play.
Mm-hmm.
He was rolling out to the left. He's a right-handed quarterback. He knew it was going to be hard to get outside, which is what he wanted. Prior Lake wasn't going to let him do that. Instead of trying to get around him and taking a bigger loss or being riskier, tucks the ball, turns around, and makes a beeline for the right side and turns it into at least a positive game.
Jaycock's back at midfield waiting for the punt from Joe Kruger. High snap. Look out. Kruger got it back.
Does he know he can punt the ball?
I don't know. And guess what? Prior Lake is going to start inside the Eagan 10 once again. Herbst finished off the Eagan punter. But also when there was number 48 for Prior Lake. Remember, we have not yet called tonight, I do not believe. That's Jared Henderson and Keaton Schroeder in there as well. But we do have a flag.
And we've got Kruger holding his helmet as if he got hit in the head. And we've got a flag right at the point of the tackle.
Personal foul, Prior Lake.
Indication
that's the third one of this half for them.
It is.
Against Prior Lake.
So let's see where this ball gets moved up to. Cats should have the football still.
Okay.
The ball's going to be spotted up at the 24-yard line.
Personal foul against Prior Lake.
So it's going to be first down.
Moves the ball to the Wildcat 24-yard line.
No, actually, they're going to say it was after.
Yeah, after it's a dead ball foul.
So Prior Lake.
We'll get possession of it. That's right.
At the Eagan 24-yard line with 1:17 to go. No timeouts for the Lakers. O'Connor looking left. Little short pass. There's Schroeder. He scored last time he touched the football, and he is going. Is he going to get all? No. Down to the 9-yard line, they're going to say. Pickup of 15.
Connor's pass, screen pass completed. Catch made. Keaton Schroeder, number 3.
So first and goal at the 9 for Prior Lake.
Number 6.
Oh, we hadn't. It's been a couple weeks since we had adventures in punting, Mike, and that time the snap over the punter's head. I'm not sure Kruger. I'm not sure he knew
that he could kick it.
That he could kick the ball there. He may have thought he had to run it, which is unfortunate.
This is only his 3rd game as the Wildcat punter. O'Connor to the end zone. That was way too easy. Touchdown, Prior Lake, 9 yards for his 2nd of the game. Spencer Marlier.
Touchdown, Prior Lake.
Yeah, that's a pitch and catch. Marlier is going to do that to our defensive backs if we let him. I mean, I'm not sure what the coaches are going to have at halftime for him to dial it back or to tighten up on him. But that's, that as you say, that was a run down the field, turn around, I'm going to throw it to you, and you're just going to catch it.
O'Connor, number 4.
Well, my guess is Prior Lake may not have to dial up anything for him because I'd be surprised to see Marlier back out in the second half.
Mike Nelson.
And the kick is no good. So Ellis just 1 for 3 tonight on PATs. One of the few problems tonight for Prior Lake, along with personal foul.
27 Wildcats, nothing.
So 27-0 Lakers, 59.6 to go. In a second quarter that to me is way too reminiscent of a week ago up at TCO Stadium.
It sure is. It's a situation where these things kind of tend to cascade or snowball on a team, especially a team that's relatively young or a team that's hasn't had a lot of success. I mean, last week, you had an Eagan team that came out in the second half and really did some great things. Played some fantastic football, got themselves back in the game. But again, they're facing the same task they had last week, which is a 4-touchdown lead at halftime. And the question becomes, how if you play with fire, how are you going to prevent from being burned? How do you keep yourself from getting burned?
First half updated numbers scoring this year. Eagan has 14 points in the first half. They've allowed 149. Yeah, that's a lot of playing from behind, unfortunately. And
well, gee whiz, I mean, if you give, I think I could march, a bunch of 8th graders out there to score if all I have to do is go 10 yards.
Right.
If you give these Lakers great field position, of course they're going to score on you.
Wyatt Weber kicking off this time for Prior Lake. It should be Hansen from the 10, across the 20, looking for a block, gets to the outside. And Derek Hansen out near the 26-yard line. One of the better starting positions tonight for the Eagan Wildcats. But look what we got. Personal foul on Eagan.
It was behind the play. It wasn't the worst hit you've ever seen, but it was a hit after the play, well away from the play, and that's going to cost us 15. And quite frankly, at this point, if you're Eagan, you just, you had a chance with 3 timeouts and 52 seconds at your 28-yard line, but now you're going to be on your 13-yard line. So I would anticipate we're going to kneel on this ball twice and go into the locker room.
Yeah, I'd say you take a knee and then you probably be thankful you're not one of the Wildcats in this locker room at halftime, because I'm going to guess Ben Hansen might have a word or two, Coach Hansen, and so much of tonight has been self-destruction. And Prior Lake is taking advantage of these turnovers. Yeah, it's simple things like you can't hang on to the football.
Yeah. And not just anywhere on the field, in your own red zone. I mean, goodness gracious, you gotta protect it.
So you run it there, get out near the 19-yard. That ball popped loose at the end, but he was already down. 5-yard pickup that time.
First hit by Austin Gordon, number 27.
Might be glad the officials had that whistle there.
20-yard line.
Absolutely.
Even though it wasn't a fumble, the ball still popped out at the end.
Yep.
2nd and 4.
Eagan very content. They're not even going to bother with a timeout. And to me, if you're not going to bother with a timeout, why run a play? You had that very opportunity right there where you might lose the football.
That's right. I don't understand that at all. Although in fairness, that's why I'm up here and I'm not coaching high school football.
Could be the last play of the half. Prior Lake showing blitz. Straight ahead, Gibson.
First down.
And still going on his feet. This is why you run the play.
Carter Lyons carries.
I think that Carter Lyons this time.
Tackle made.
Carter Lyons is going to pick up 37 yards on the last play of quarter number 2. And they're going to spot that ball. I think he got 37. Spot him down to the 43, but that's going to be the half. So the Eagan Wildcats, they head to the locker room. Prior Lake heads to their locker room, but Prior Lake is going to be much happier. They are up by a 27-0 count here on senior night at Eagan High School. So let's take a break for halftime, and we'll be back in a little bit right here on ETV, your home for Wildcat Sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, today here at Eagan High School, the Eagan Wildcats dance team program held its annual mini clinic for the young dancers of the Eagan High School community. The mini clinic dancers joined the Eagan Wildcats dance team for a fun day of dance. 105 mini clinic dancers participated, ranging in age.
welcome you back inside Wildcat country where the band is fired up with the school fight song. And really, that's the first time we've heard that since before the game, because right now at the half, it's the Prior Lake Lakers 27, the Eagan Wildcats nothing. I'm Mike Cook, Nathan Cron with me, and Nathan, boy, it was we mentioned it late in the first half, but first quarter was only 6-0, and then it was all Prior Lake.
Well, if the axiom is if you give a good football team too many turnovers, too many opportunities, they're going to burn you, and that's precisely what Prior Lake did, as the Eagan Wildcats coughed it up twice inside their own 15-yard line coming out after two great stops by the defense to deny Prior Lake, the opportunity to put more points on the board, and they cough it up twice. Another touchdown pops in, and then another touchdown pops in, and all of a sudden it's a snowball effect. And you have to wonder about the mental toughness sometimes of the kids and where they're at with their minds. But we saw last week them at halftime being down by 4 touchdowns, and they came out and gave a spirited performance. Now, can they duplicate what they did last week? I don't know, but I'll be interested to see.
And we mentioned the band; they're heading out, by the way, so not a lot of faith from the band here tonight. But bottom line, it's 27-0 Prior Lake. So we said Prior Lake comes into this game; they're ranked 7th in the latest Star Tribune poll, number 9 in the AP poll, and they are 3-2 on this not young season anymore, on this season. But their 2 losses, they lost to Eden Prairie, and they lost a nail biter up at Minnetonka there 2 weeks ago. And Prior Lake will have a big one next week on the 12th. They play Lakeville North. It's a home game for Prior Lake, but it's back in Eagan, except this time it's up at the TCO Performance Center and the Vikings training facility where the Wildcats were a week ago for that big comeback. And for those of you watching us live on the air, Lakeville North, by the way, 19-0 over Maple Grove early third quarter. A couple other scores. Lakeville South at Rosemount, the Irish homecoming, and it's a happy one. 31-0 Irish at the break. Eagan, who is at Eastview next Friday night, the 12th. Lightning down 14-7 at the half at Wyzetta. So, yeah, that's our roundup here. Brought to you by, let's mention our sponsors for Eagan football this year. Cooper's Bar and Grill, Baldman Brewing, Wyatt's Twisted Americana, and Buffalo Wild Wings. Great to have all those sponsors on board. Be sure to check them out. Be sure to thank you for supporting Wildcat football. 2 games to go in the regular season after this one. At Eastview, at Lakeville North. Then it's playoff time, and they'll be at somebody who's got a really good record.
Yeah, they definitely are going to have their work cut out for them. I mean, the neat thing about a game like that is that being in the playoffs is a fun thing to do if you're a player, if you're a student athlete. Not every, there have been times in the format that, kids haven't been able to get into the playoffs. And so it's great that they at least get to participate in the playoffs. And again, in a one-and-done type of situation where you have a very confident football team that has a great record, once in a while you see some upsets in those 1-8 games or whatever, however you describe them.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. That's I believe that's 3 weeks away. October the 26th, if I'm not mistaken, a Friday night, will be the 6A first round of playoffs. Of course, there's 32 teams in 6A. Then all the other schools will play that Tuesday before, and then they'll also play on Saturday the 27th, I believe, if I'm trying to do the calendar in my head. That's where schools like Apple Valley will come into play. St. Thomas Academy, another nearby school, is having a tremendous season. The Cadets, I believe, undefeated coming into action tonight. A little bit rougher year for Apple Valley, who they lost just about everybody that was dominant last year on that team that made it down to U.S. Bank Stadium before falling in the semis. Right now we're getting set for second half action, and we'll see what kind of adjustments the Wildcats make. We'll see if they maybe change up some personnel to try to get something going on here. You just want to get some kind of momentum.
That's right.
You go on the road next week to Eastview, and you look at that Eastview game, and that's one that you circle on your calendar thinking, this is one we've got a shot at.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if past practices are any indication of future performance, I think what we're going to see here is we're going to see a lot of Eagan's first-team players until they get something going.
And I don't blame Coach Hansen one bit for that. Prior Lake takes the kick back from their own 10-yard line, and a good return out near the 40-yard line by number 3 Schroeder. He had a touchdown run in the opening half for the Lakers. I believe it was about 35 yards on his touchdown run. And he'll put Prior Lake out to the 38-yard line as we start quarter number 3 here on ETV.
Schroeder returning the kickoff.
Well, let's see if O'Connor has been their quarterback. Colin O'Connor, he's a senior, 6'3", 205. Really good first half for Connor and the offense. And indeed, he is still out there. I would think if you're Prior Lake, maybe you get a score here on this drive, and then maybe you kind of get some other guys in.
No, absolutely. I think that's the smart play. If you're Prior Lake, you want to make sure everyone's healthy and happy and ready to go for a big tilt next week with Lakeville North. And so if assuming there's not some sort of something unusual here where Prior Lake suddenly coughs up the ball or throws a pick six or something, if they score, I would definitely think that this would be it for Marlier and O'Connor and some of these skill players.
Yes, Shaver 5 yards on that carry, by the way, for Prior Lake. O'Connor to throw. He's got a man wide open far side. I'll give you 3 guesses who it was.
Well, I won't need all 3. We worked that bit in the first half, and it's Marlier again. Again, he's running off the defensive back, and he's stopping, and he's waiting for O'Connor to pitch him the ball. I mean, that's what but quite candidly, that's what you get when you have a bunch of seniors. Marlier is a senior. He's been playing this game. O'Connor's a senior. He's been playing this game for a while. They've been pitching and catching all summer long. So that for them, that's easy.
O'Connor, he'll hand it off here straight ahead. Number 6 this time. That's Shaver once again. Look at those legs keep moving. Finally, Hofstad and Downs in there to take him down at the 42-yard line. But that's a 7-yard pickup.
Well, the Wildcats need to do a better job of tackling. They had an opportunity there to stop him
once again.
Look
at those legs keep moving. Finally, Hofstad and Downs.
As you say, those legs were churning, and very impressive by the young man from Prior Lake. But nonetheless, the Wildcats have got to do a better job of wrapping up and getting a guy to the ground instead of tackling up high. I realize that's a bit, when someone's running and pumping their legs, you don't want to duck your head down around their waist because you don't want to take a knee in the face. But that's why you wear a helmet. That's why you wear a face mask. So we need to get those guys on the ground. 2nd
and short for Prior Lake. We'll see if they try to go the long one here. Nope, they're going to keep it a little more conservative. And we've called this connection a few times tonight. Once again, number 13, Marlier.
No, I think they're going to, quite candidly, I think they're going to give, that plays there for them all night. I mean, that's the 3rd down and 4 play, the 3rd down and 8 play. It's going to be there all night. The only question is are we going to be able to tighten up and make the tackle there? We did a good job of making the tackle and stopping them, and now we've got some trickeration on the field.
I don't even know how you describe this formation for Prior Lake. Sending the man in motion, Marley, and they'll keep it with O'Connor. He tries to bounce to the outside, does. 35. Can he get to the 30? He's going to pull up at about the 31-yard line, 7 yards on the play for the Prior Lake quarterback.
So for anybody confused about what that was, is that looked a lot like their swinging gate extra point opportunity where you line up the line to one side, the kicker, the holder, the snapper are all in the middle. There's some motion across. It's what they did really in the first half on that extra point. That's a tendency buster. They want to see if that play is going to work for them later in the year.
Well, they got 7 on it right there, so it's 2nd and about 3. O'Connor. And that play did not go anywhere.
I'd say that is what is known, not to go completely David Attenborough on the bit, but that is what is known as a sack. It is one of the rarest of things that we've had this season here in Wildcat country, but the defensive line has tackled the quarterback for a loss, and that is a sack. And so a great job that time by the defensive line putting pressure on O'Connor, and O'Connor stepped into it.
Yeah, it was a 2-yard loss. I was focused on one of the receivers down the field because he had 2 guys that just ran little curl routes. Here's Schroeder, and it's going to set up a 4th down and about 3 on a good play there by the Eagan defense to string it out.
You're right, Mike. They did a great job of stringing that ball out and making sure that they didn't turn their shoulders to give him a running lane. So it sets up a very interesting little 4th down where if Eagan makes a stop here, things might get a little interesting. But they got to get this stop. And there's 2 options here. It's either going to be Marlier on the outside, or I have to think, given the fact that O'Connor has already run the ball once in this, it wouldn't shock me if O'Connor takes this ball, fakes it into the belly of the running back, and takes off himself.
I would agree with you on that call. It's 4th and 3. They have nobody to the left, 1 receiver right. O'Connor hands it off, Shaver, and he's got the 1st down, and he'll get down near the 20-yard line on the big 4th down run. He's going to pick up 11 that time by the big back for Prior Lake.
He did an excellent job that time of moving to the left and then bouncing hard to the right, making a good hard cut. Credit to the Prior Lake offensive line, though, for sticking with those blocks. Sometimes when that ball gets cut back, the players who expect to be on the backside of the play don't always stick with their blocks, but that time they did an excellent job of sticking with it.
Official spot makes that a 10-yard pickup, by the way. Bottom line is the sticks did move on a fourth down play. A play that realistically, if Eagan had any chance, I think they had to make.
No, I think that's right.
O'Connor, he's going for it all in the end zone. Good coverage downfield by the Wildcats. That ball was underthrown, intended for Ellis. Was that Kazemzak back deep for?
I think it was McGinley.
Yeah, you're right, McGinley.
Kazemzak Kazemzak is not playing tonight. But I think that was McGinley, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that ball hit McGinley in the back.
It did.
I'm wishing Marcus did. Marcus did a great job of, first do no harm. Make sure that ball doesn't get to the receiver. But golly, boy, imagine if he could have turned his head.
So for Kazemzak, that's the third game in 4 that he's missed. O'Connor sets it up, a little screen. Nice tackle that time by the Eagan Wildcats. Got to be Sackmaster, isn't it? Yes, of course it is. Schroeder, the recipient of that pass. And it's going to be third down from the 23-yard line, so it's going to be 3rd and 10 for Prior Lake. And what a job there by Sackmaster.
Pardon me, Mike. Sackmaster absolutely saved the defensive line's bacon. Again, how many times are they going to do it where they get released inside and all 4 of them are streaming at O'Connor, and not one of them thinks to say, hey, I'm going to peel off and I'm going to go for that screen.
O'Connor, does he go for it all here? And that's going to be caught down at the 10-yard line. No, they're going to say he did not catch it. It's like a few times Marley has not caught one tonight. So now it's going to be 4th and 10.
That presents a very interesting situation. And in fact, Prior Lake got lucky there. I was watching the offensive line as an O'Connor's protection, and they got, Prior Lake darn near came very close to committing a holding penalty from the right tackle, and that would have moved him back another 10 yards. And so it's, we'll see what the coaching staff can dial up here on 4th down.
Yeah, 7:07 to go in the third. Prior Lake has had the football the entire quarter thus far. Drive that started back on their own 38-yard line. A low snap. O'Connor is able to pick it up after he bobbled it. Across the middle. And is that going to be caught? It is indeed caught. Touchdown for Prior Lake. Coming up with that football is... trying to see the number there on that kid. Yeah, guess who? No, it's not Marley. It's 23 this time, not 13. 23 is Nick Tice. He threw that 2-point conversion earlier. 22 yards for Tice.
Nice play there by O'Connor, taking a snap that was at his ankles, picking the ball up, and quickly surmising that he had guys running free down the field. Now that time, rather interesting call. He threw that ball into, there was traffic down there.
Yep.
But he didn't put too much air on it. I think if you put more air on it, if it floated a little more, the defensive backs would have been able to make a play on it. But credit to O'Connor for making a nice pass there.
33-0 in favor of Prior Lake. Going for 2. O'Connor's got Shaver with him. Shaver lined up to the left. Going to make this a 35-0 game. Run it. That was too easy. 35-0 Prior Lake. Ellis with the run. Got to get to the 4th quarter to get to running time, but we are at the point where Prior Lake is up by 35. But at this point for the Cats, you just got to get something going and try and create some kind of positivity as you head into that rivalry game next week at Eastview.
Yeah, no, I would expect to see the first team offense on the field. I would expect to see Sorensen getting more reps. Although I will say, if the coaching staff is thinking of making a change from Sorensen to either Evans or Gugino, now would be the time to make it to get ready for next week. You could try that. I would like to see, I definitely would like to see the offense get some momentum and build some momentum for next year. Excuse me, next year.
Well, that
next week.
So we do have underclassmen
for next week.
We do have underclassmen at quarterback.
Yes, we do. We do have underclassmen. Actually, we have 3 underclassmen at quarterback. And then, look at the difference that having a senior quarterback who's clearly been in this system for a while makes with O'Connor.
Yeah.
Look at what he is able to do out there.
Weber swings that right foot. This one will be returnable from about the 11. This should be Hansen. He'll cross the 20, 25, and gets out to about the 26-yard line. Taken down on the play by number 38 for the Prior Lake Lakers. That's Riley Bester. He's a 5'11 junior. Now let's see what indeed the Wildcats choose to do here down by a 35-0 count. Well, let's try to look out there who it is going to be. Sorensen still in at quarterback. He's got Gibson in the backfield with Lyons. Realize the way to tell them apart, Gibson has white gloves on. Lyons has blue. So we'll see if we can keep that straight the rest of the way. This would be the blue. That would be Lyons. And he'll get that's a nice run there on first down. Picks up about 7. Number 9 in there, the stop at DJ Doyen for Prior Lake. Trying to see if Prior Lake's got a lot of their top defenders out there. Looks like they've still got the bulk of their first unit out there on defense, maybe giving them one series here in the second half. As we approach the halfway point of quarter number 3. Game that was close after one quarter. It has definitely become a Prior Lake ball game today. Sorensen, Lyons nearly had his head taken off. Wrestles his way forward, gets maybe a couple on that play. I think that was Ethan Keene in there for Prior Lake. They had the great opportunity. Ethan's a hard guy to miss at 6'2", 285.
Yeah, he's noticeable, certainly, no question about that. I guess the question you have to ask yourself if you're an offensive lineman here, for Eagan is are we gonna let these guys beat us on this play? On this play for 3rd and 1, are we gonna block our hearts out? Are we gonna make sure that Lyons or McGinley or whoever gets to this first down stripe?
Well, they did get it and more that time. Gibson is going to get the ball out across the 40 down to about the 43-yard line. Nice pickup of 7 there and a good surge by the offensive line that time.
Yeah, it looked like 52. I couldn't see. It's hard to see these numbers. Golly, Mike, it's hard to see these numbers. But it looked like 52. Nick Lawrence for Eagan was down blocking 10 yards downfield, locked on his guy when that whistle blew. And those are the kinds of performances and the things that don't look all that great on a score sheet because you don't keep track of them. But we know it's up here in the booth.
Fresh set of downs for the Wildcats. First drive of the second half for Eagan. There's Gibson on the left side. Breaks out of one tackle, spins around, and good job by Prior Lake in pursuit. That was number 9 that wrestled him down, E.J. Doyen. Going to be a loss of a couple on that play. I'm actually going to say a loss of 1. They're going to give him some progress.
Loss of 1 at the 42-yard line.
But again, good job of Prior Lake bursting through on that one and disrupting things.
Eagan lucky they didn't get flagged for holding there. There was a looked like a guy trying to take down a calf and put a rope around it out there, and I think in a tighter game, in a different kind of game, maybe that gets flagged.
2nd and 11 for the Wildcats. Colby Sorensen in at quarterback. Straight ahead run. There's Lyons. He'll get out near midfield. Get made on that play. It's going to set up a 3rd and 3 for Carter Lyons. We can see the Cats get a first down here. Let's keep the momentum going.
Absolutely.
And let's be honest, they're falling to 0-6 on the season. They're down 35-0 here. But again, get some momentum. And you know what? 7 looks better than a goose egg.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Your job right now, if you're an Eagan offensive lineman, if you're an Eagan offensive player, is to get into the end zone, get points on the board.
3rd and 3. Straight ahead. 4 did he get it? I believe he got it on the second effort. Lyons, what a nice run there by Carter. Gets 4 yards on what easily could have been a no gain.
Well, Carter Lyons demonstrating why, like I said, Mike, I'm not the official voter. I'm not the guy who gets to decide it, but golly, if he's not your most valuable player this year for this team, I don't know who is. I mean, taking a 2 yards loss, spinning off of it, great personal effort, and turning it into a first down. I mean, just an excellent effort by him. And, a little bit of credit to the offensive line for sticking on their blocks and not letting him be tackled by 5 guys all at once, too.
7th play of this drive that started back at the Wildcat 27. And it's going to be the 8th play will be a 2nd and long as Cole Gibson checked that. Wrapped up by a number of Prior Lake Lakers, including number 1 Trenton Rubin. Give him 1 on that play. Well, I'll tell you, I'm looking down. You know who's might have the hardest job in this stadium tonight?
Who's that?
The Eagan cheer squad. I'm looking down there in front of the pit. They're still doing their thing, trying to get the crowd into it. Their team is down 35-0 here late in the third, but they're still showing their school spirit down there. And Eagan jumped. That should be a false start on the Wildcats. I believe it was the right guard on that moved. Yep, indeed it was. False start for the Wildcats.
Can't have those kinds of things happening. What's that, number 5, I think? Maybe number 4 or number 5, certainly.
Yeah.
For this game, and that's I mean,
unacceptable. You're in week 6.
Yeah, I mean, look. I mean, the only as a former offensive lineman, I can tell you when you change quarterbacks from time to time, you are going to have situations where you get used to different voices and counts and cadences. But golly, again, in this situation, you're teeing off. You're going to block the guy across from you. It's not rocket science.
2nd and 14. 3rd and 16 upcoming. Look at all those Prior Lake Lakers in on that stop. I think we can safely say Carter Lyons had no chance on that play.
Carter Lyons is lucky that he didn't get tackled by 12 Prior Lake Lakers that time, because that time the offensive line did a very below average job of sealing. They pulled a guard, and that guard wasn't even close to it getting to the point of attack for Carter Lyons.
Carter Efforts, by the way, first man in for Prior Lake, number 44. Might be the first time we've called his name tonight. 3rd and 16. So we're down to 100 seconds to go in the third quarter. 35-0 Prior Lake. Sorensen, 50, 47, and he gets out of bounds. So a pickup of about 4 on 3rd and 16.
Well, it was a designed run that time. Sorensen dropped back after what you might traditionally call a play fake, and he tucked the ball. He didn't set up. He didn't hold the ball out like he was going to throw. He tucked the ball, put it away, and ran with it, and that was impressive. Unfortunately, they needed 16 yards. They only got 6.
So adventures in punting for the Wildcats. Kruger, good snap that time. Good high kick. Jaycox, he will field it at the 20. Nice play downfield by the Wildcats. Try to see who first ran up for the Wildcats. That's Hansen, the wide receiver, making the stop for the Wildcats. Trying to see who's that. And Wallach down there as well, number 7 for Eagan. And Prior Lake's going to start this time with a $1:22 to go in the third at their own 25-yard line. 1:22 to go, as we said, in the third. As of right now, it will be running time in the fourth because you've got that 35-point difference. O'Connor is still in their quarterback, by the way. Nice job that time by the Eagan defense.
I'm curious, Mike. I as an observer, I guess I'm a biased observer. I certainly am not objective, but golly, if you've got a big tilt against North next week, you're ahead by 5 touchdowns in pretty much the fourth quarter against Eagan. Why is O'Connor still doing in the game?
I don't have a comeback for you because I am in total agreement with you on this one. I don't get it either. 1, 2, 3, 4 receivers for Prior Lake, and they'll run it straight ahead. And Schroeder's going to get out near the 30-yard line. Maybe the 30.5 yard line, I guess you could say. Well, there really isn't such a thing, but bottom line is it's going to be a 3rd and 5. Presumably we will have the last play of the third quarter upcoming as the clock ticks down at 25 and counting. Well, see if the Eagan defense can make a stand. Let's see those guys make a stop, get a little confidence on that side of the football. O'Connor, he'll throw it near side and got his man. It's going to be number 19, his first reception of the football game for Prior Lake. That's Kyle LaGrange. He's a 6'5 senior, and he needed all 6'5 of that to get up for that football.
Well, he sure did. O'Connor put the ball only where his receiver was going to get it. One of the challenges here is for Eagan is that they're matched up against Marler, who is 6'2", and LaGrange is 6'5". They've got some big, tall receivers there at Prior Lake, and covering those guys is hard to do because it's going to be hard for you to climb that ladder to be able to get to them for that pass breakup.
So 3 quarters in the books. We're going to take a very quick break here on ETV, your home for Wildcat Sports. 35-0 Prior Lake with 12 minutes to go in this one.
Made her college years possible, opening that education savings account when she was little, spearheading campus tours, and deciphering financial aid. If you can ace planning for college, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.
Well, we welcome you back inside Wildcat Country. We get set for fourth quarter action, final home game of the year for the Eagan Wildcats. And they're going to need a Eagan miracle to get back to pull this one off. They are down 35-0 as we start the fourth quarter here on ETV. Prior Lake facing with a first and 10. Schroeder's going to straight ahead. That pile is going to move. Good downfield blocking by Prior Lake. And that's going to be about a 7-yard pickup for the Prior Lake back.
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, imagine the Eagan front seven is going to get tested here. Prior Lake looks like they're making a concentrated effort to try to run this ball as much as possible. The Eagan front seven is going to have to step up. They're going to have to attack the line of scrimmage rather than just catch blocks, which is what they did there on first down.
Prior Lake still with a good chunk of their starters in an offense. Colin O'Connor is the quarterback still. And good job by the Eagan defense there. Wrapped up. I believe that's Schroeder that got wrapped up. Sackmaster in there. I believe Merwin in there as well for the Wildcats. Check that. It was Merwin and number 35 for the Eagan Wildcats, who we've not called much of at all this year. That's Gabriel Favre. Loss of 4 on that play officially for Prior Lake. So third and we'll call it a long 7, short 8. Do the Lakers dare put it in the air? They do. O'Connor, far side. It's going to be close to the sticks. Where did he reach out with the football?
He's short.
And they are going to spot him. Edwards, by the way, on the catch for Prior Lake. William Edwards wears number 16, and it's going to be fourth down and about 2. Gain of 5 on the play. It's Edwards' first catch of the game for Prior Lake.
If you're Prior Lake, what you're doing is you're testing some things for later in the season. How about testing your punter? Can Prior Lake punt the ball?
Yeah. Well, 4th and 2, well. Or is this one where you're just going to try and draw Eagan offsides? Or
when you do that, you usually do it from under center.
Well, there's that too. Well, yeah, 4 receivers for the Lakers. O'Connor looks to the sideline. I'm not sure if they're switching plays. It's over at Coach G. Chris Mark Guest joined the Prior Lake squad this year, longtime coach down at Mankato West. Brought his big offensive philosophy up here to Prior Lake, and it's worked out pretty well thus far for the Prior Lake Lakers, who are taking a timeout here on this 4th down and 2 play with 9:52 to go in this one. And it'll give us an opportunity to talk about some other Wildcat sports and quite a bit of success on the girls' side here in Wildcat Country. Girls tennis, they started playoff action today, or they were scheduled to. I don't know if they got it in with the rain and the mist and everything, but section finals will be October 11th down at the Lifetime in Lakeville. Girls are the top seed in their section. Volleyball, they're up to they're 16-2 on this season. They swept Eastview on Tuesday, and they are home to Farmington next Tuesday. And the big one, girls soccer, finishes 13-0-3, South Suburban Conference champs. They had 3 games in 3 days. They beat Eastview 5-0 Tuesday, Burnsville 5-1 Wednesday, Apple Valley 5-0 Thursday. And this is the stat that impressed me the most. They've scored 52 goals this year, allowed 5.
That's a recipe for success on a soccer field.
By the way, I saw the JV girls soccer, 13-1-2. Outscored their opponents 47-7.
They're pretty good too.
Yeah. So yeah, good fall sports season for the girls teams here in Wildcat Country. And nice low punt there. And Egan's going to take over from about its own 20-yard line. By the way, girls swimming, they're ranked 8th in AA. And we've got a late flag on the field right at the end of the play. Girls swimming has the True Team section meet tomorrow, and they're home to Lakeville North next Tuesday. Let's see what this penalty is going to be all about. Cross-country teams, they're at the Merrill Invite over in Wisconsin tomorrow. Next Friday here at Eagan High School, the South Suburban Conference meet. So there'll be a lot of kids running around the fields here at Dakota Hills Middle School, Eagan High School next Friday for the big cross-country meet. And finally, we've got boys soccer. They're 9-6-1. They've lost 3 straight, unfortunately, including 2-1 here last night on senior night. So, boy, playoffs are kicking into gear for all these sports.
Well, it's that time. It's certainly that time of the year for that, and you know the football team won't be far away from that. It'll be interesting to see how some of these teams that are ranked so highly do in these playoffs.
Eagan from their own 11 with 9:39 to go. And that'll get them out about 3, maybe 4. Just noticed the other day, I was looking at the boys hockey schedule. I saw there was a tweet that came out and said that it's now available. And I believe Eagan and Prior Lake opened the season against one another at the Eagan Arena. I believe it's the week after Thanksgiving. And it was either Tuesday or Thursday. So hard to believe that, boy, we're talking hockey already.
It's right around the corner, isn't it?
Yeah, I saw Todd Carlson, one of the JV, one of the longtime coaches here, and he said, I believe practice starts the 12th of November. Captain's practices start here in a couple of weeks, actually. Straight ahead for the Cats. I believe that Lions, I believe, is the ball carrier out across the 25, get him to the 26. That'll move the sticks on an 11-yard pickup.
Well, I definitely want to see this offense move the football, and giving it to Carter Lyons is certainly not a bad way to do that. I would like to see McGinley get a couple of carries to the outside maybe, and get Gibson outside as well, and give them the opportunity as well, and save some pounding on Carter, and save him for Eastview next week.
Absolutely. Straight ahead, guess who? Down to about the 32-yard line. Pick up a 4. Let's say 4 officially on that one. I was thinking, too, we haven't seen in a while, is Dylan McGuire, number 5. He had some time there kind of earlier this year. I know he missed a game with an injury, but he kind of came back in that Rosemount game. It seems like I remember calling his name a couple times last week in the game against Farmington. I haven't seen him tonight, though. It's good to see Carter is still out there. He kind of came off limping back in.
Sure.
It was back in the first half. You look at the back of his jersey right there, just notice especially on that run. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of mud and gunk on the back of that one. Is it going to be enough for a Wildcat first down? It's going to be 3rd and short, they do say officially on the field. 5 yards there by Carter. And we've got a timeout for an injured Wildcat. Back down on the 40-yard line. No idea who that is.
It's one of the big guys, Mike. It's certainly one of the big guys from up front. I didn't see precisely what happened to him.
Hopefully he just got the wind knocked out of him. Yeah,
I think he was up on his feet and then went down.
Yeah. And Diana Backlund, the trainer for Eagan High School. Trying to get a look at what number that is. I believe, is that our, like a shoulder injury? Yeah, that indeed is the center for the Eagan Wildcats. Taylor Elder, the senior center. Yeah, they're pretty ginger there with that left arm. Let's take a look and see if he actually comes all the way back to the bench, and he will. In a game like this, that's the one that you don't want to see, is anybody get hurt.
No, absolutely not.
For either team.
No.
So we bring in a fresh center, and what that means is, and you've got a damp football, center that hasn't been in there a whole lot tonight, if at all. See if we can figure out who that center is here in a little bit for the Wildcats. Yeah, out across the 41, out across the 40, that's going to be a first down for the Eagan Wildcats.
You know, from up here, Mike, it looked like Sorensen had to double clutch on that ball to make sure it got up to him. You know, there's as we've seen this season, that center quarterback exchange is never quite as automatic as you'd like it to be.
7 minutes to go in this one as the clock continues to run. It was 27-0 Prior Lake at the break after just the 6-0 lead after one. Nice run there. And I believe that's Gibson that time. Gets up to about the 44-yard line. Maybe a pickup of 4 that time. You know, I like when you get, you know, Cole Gibson gets an opportunity to maybe, I don't want to say spell Lions, but just to present a new look out there and give teams something on film to say that it's not all Carter Lions.
That's right. Well, I mean, look, Carter Lyons is a senior, and he wants to get as many carries as he can, and play as much football as he can, because you never know when you never know if you're going to ever play in college or after high school.
Right.
But giving Gibson some carries is probably a good idea to save some wear and tear on Lions for the next 2 games.
Count, and we've got flags all over.
Yeah, it's a false start on the Wildcats. It was the wingback, the Z, on the far side of the field, who was leaning forward. And if you're going to lean forward, you've got to do it ever so subtly, and he didn't that time. And I don't know if that's I couldn't quite pick up the number. I don't know if that's Meekin coming off. I think it might have been Meekin.
And Sorensen back out. Try to see who our new center is. I believe, is it 62, Zach Jacobson? I'm not certain on that.
Second and 11, Wildcats at their 39-yard line.
So after the false start, it's 2nd and 11 for the Wildcats as we're past the halfway point. Quarter number 4. And it's going to be a quarterback keep, Sorensen, and there's a big hit over there by Prior Lake. Number 9, Doyen, once again in there for the Lakers.
First hit by DJ Doyen, number 9 for the Lakers.
So it's going to be 3rd and, about 13 this time.
Also 2. Wildcats 37-yard line. 3rd and 13. Wildcats at their 37-yard line.
Well, we're pretty much down to a friends and family crowd here on the home side. Even the camo of the pit is thinned considerably. Although I could make a pretty safe statement that the pit will be out in force at Eastview next week.
Absolutely.
Big district rivalry game against the Lightning. Looks like a Meekin play. Didn't go anywhere. So let's assume Eastview was down at the half. They're 2-3 coming into tonight's ball game. Their 3 losses are to Eden Prairie, Edina, and Rosemount. That's not bad. The Eastview defense entering tonight allowing 10 points a game.
Now,
They're only scoring just under 12. But so that is, that's definitely not going to be an easy game for the Wildcats. But it's a rivalry game. The old theory of, hey, throw out the records, that kind of thing. And that ball's going to roll down to the 25-yard line with just over 4 minutes to go in this one. A couple other notes I noticed. This will be, let's just say it's been a struggle in recent years for the Wildcat football. This will be their 11th straight loss.
That's definitely not the kind of statistic you want to you want to put on your bulletin board and have some fun with. But
38 yards on the punt.
No, that's one where if you could put audio on a bulletin board, you do that, and you throw darts at it.
That's right.
Try to break that. It's been a rough stretch right now here in Wildcat country on the gridiron, and a lot of new shirts out there for Prior Lake, and you can tell because they're really, really white jerseys right now on a field that's been it's a little damp field. There's a lot of dirt and mud out there, and it's only got to survive a few more soccer games probably this year. And I would imagine EAA has don't they have like a Super Saturday kind of thing out here on this field? So some of the younger football kids come out and play on the big kids' field, so to speak. But yeah, it looks like it's going to end up 35-0. And if this does hold, that's back-to-back shutouts for Prior Lake, who beat Burnsville 21-0 a week ago. And I'm just looking at their stats here. Prior Lake has allowed just 63 points thus far. 35 of those were to Eden Prairie. And in that Eden Prairie game, O'Connor did not play. So, I mean, Eden Prairie won that game by 23, but you were missing O'Connor. Does that make it closer? Probably. Do you beat Eden Prairie?
Who knows?
Yeah, maybe
who knows?
But maybe not. But
who knows? But if going into Eden Prairie football game against Eden Prairie, not full strength.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how you can't say it wouldn't have made a difference.
Yep.
Especially with what we've seen here tonight. I mean, we've seen a composed, confident quarterback back there for O'Connor. Completing passes, making it look easy, pitching and catching with those outside receivers.
Yeah, and then when they turn around and run it, I mean, Keaton Schroeder's had a good game, number 3. Spencer Shavers had some nice runs for Prior Lake, who's going to throw it here. Maybe the first time they've hit their tight end tonight. As we're down to 2:22 and counting. Cole Warfield on the reception for Prior Lake. So again, at Eastview on October the 12th. By the way, I saw the long-range forecast today. High next Friday, 44 degrees.
The high.
The high.
So you're saying at game time it might be a bit nippy.
Bit nippy. I'm guessing we might see a few letter jackets from the pit.
Sure.
But you know what? I fully expect the visitor side to have a very good crowd down there next Friday night. I'm sure Eastview will pack them in. Eagan has not played down there in a couple of years. For some reason, there was that rotation where Eagan did not play Eastview for, I believe it was 2 years in a row. And to me, that's one of those ones that it's a rivalry game. You got to find a way to play that one.
That's right.
Don't you?
That's right. Well, if we had the opportunity to be the gods of football, we would say that everybody's got to play a rival,
right.
And you got to play your rivals.
Yep.
All your rivals.
Yep. Yeah, you should have. I mean, the 3 196 schools that are in 6A should play each other every year.
That's right.
I mean, in Apple Valley, because of their numbers, they've dropped to 5A. But back in the day, include them in the mix. There's nothing saying you've got to play Lakeville South every year, for example. There's not that huge rivalry there with the Cougars that you have with, say, the Lightning or Rosemount, or and these are kids that have played each other all the way from when they were little 5 and 6 year olds, just putting on helmets for the first time, up through middle school and up onto the varsity level.
That's right. No, it would be. There really should be a district, a way to make sure that you're playing teams that you need to be playing from a rivalry standpoint. No question about that.
On the Prior Lake side, Shakopee, I would think you want to play every year.
Absolutely.
Probably Burnsville every year.
Yep.
Those are a couple of big rivalry games over on that side of town as well. On what should be the final play of the football game, Prior Lake is going to have a running back as dog tackled by about 4 Eagan Wildcats. And indeed, that will be the final play of tonight's football game, where the Eagan Wildcats finish up the home part of their schedule on a short end of a 35-0 game against Prior Lake, who's, like you said, number 7 in one poll. They're number 9 in another. I would say they're deserving of those numbers.
Yeah, they were very impressive tonight. Offensively, I thought they really had their way with a defense, despite the fact that the Eagan Wildcat defense had some really nice plays. I mean, they had some nice sequences. They had some great goal line stops. But, again, the offense for the Wildcats put their defense in a bad position just too many times. You can't do that against a good football team.
Nope, so we'll see what the Cats work on over the next 6+ days. And our next broadcast will be Friday, October the 12th. We'll be down on the eastern side of Apple Valley as the Eagan Wildcats take on the Eastview Lightning. And for Prior Lake, it's the showdown up at the Vikings training facility Friday the 12th, where they take on top-ranked Lakeville North. So that should be an exciting game to follow up on after the fact. But for the Eagan fans, we'll see you down at Eastview next week. And if you're not there, you tune into ETV. We're going to have that one on the air as well. So on behalf of the entire crew for ETV, he's Nathan, I'm Mike. We say thanks for being with us, and we will see you next time for Eagan Wildcat football on ETV.
of Health in tracking foodborne illness by interviewing persons that have been exposed to contaminated food. The department receives reports from healthcare clinics of children who have been exposed to lead, most often lead-based paint, and are exhibiting elevated blood lead levels. There are over 7,000 homes in the county that were built before 1942, making them high risk for lead exposure to children because lead-based paint was used almost exclusively at that time. The public health nurse lead case manager provides parents with information about lead exposure sources. The environmental health specialist inspects the home environment to find out if there are any sources of exposures of lead to the child. If discovered, the case manager and environmental health specialist work with the parents to prevent lead exposure to their child. Lyme disease is a potentially serious bacterial infection caused by a tick bite. There are many other diseases that can be transmitted from insects